in here. It's just amazing how many people just kind of don't show up right now, and it's just like I always say, availability is one of the best abilities. I picked it up from a buddy, Chris Yatsko. Plug that for Chris.
Say that again.
Availability is one of the best abilities.
Oh, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. Today I got Jason Hall with me today. Jason, thanks for joining.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having on. I didn't realize that we actually had hung out before, and we spent a little time on the lake having a good time. And then when I walked in here, I was like super surprised to see you again. I'm like, right on. Here we go. So like, I'm a little more comfortable than I thought I was going to be. So
I love it.
Ask me anything today.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Jason, tell everybody a little about yourself, kind of how long you've been in the real estate world, and
so I've been in the real estate space for, I want to say I'm working on my 21st year now.
Cool.
Started out with Keller Williams for about 5 minutes, and then Realty Executives for a little while, and ProSmart Realty, and then now at the Great North & Co. Been at North & Co. for about 4 years.
Cool.
Got my broker's license, I want to say, about 10 years ago when I was with ProSmart Realty. And I got a little bit of news. I'm actually starting a team again.
Love it.
So I'm actually on the hunt for some talent right now.
Okay.
People that I can get the right people on the bus, if you will.
What does that look like? Who are you looking for?
You know, man, I'm looking for somebody that, kind of like respects the industry a little bit, that, really wants to learn the fundamentals of the industry and actually like learn how to make money in any market with respect to real estate, not just an opportunity-based thing that we've been experiencing in the while back. So that, and, really what I want to do is I want to go on a journey with somebody or a few people that like to get what they really want out of life. I feel like real estate's kind of delivered me almost everything I want in my life. It's got to give me a little bit to work for yet.
Yep.
But I think this is the piece that I got to work for.
Love that.
And, I hate to be Zig Ziglar about the whole shit, but like if I get people what they want, I can get what I want. And, like my heart's super happy doing that. So that's what's up.
Love that. Yeah, I think whenever Kyle introduced us, shout out Kyle Sebastian for introducing us. And we were out on the boat. You were talking pretty heavily about kind of some in-depth kind of life stuff as opposed to just the real estate and kind of.
For sure.
Kind of how important that is to you, and really being aware of kind of your surroundings and who you're hanging out with and stuff. And
man, you got to have your you got to have your tribe to vibe with and whatnot. And I guess if you're with like-minded people, there's really nothing you can't accomplish in this world. And especially just being comfortable in your own skin and having a good time and just being with the right folks. It's great.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of North & Co.'s kind of whole culture over there. They've just kind of created a...
Yeah, man. This North & Co. is a pretty special place. It will definitely change your life. It will elevate you as a human being. And it really just kind of collects the world and kind of shows it to you in a different perspective and allows you to kind of digest and make changes. And they support you while you're making those changes. It's a cool place to be. Yeah. So
talk about the real estate market today.
You. You do it first. So let's start with the funky narratives that are going on in the real estate space right now. So for me, I don't really care about the rates. So what?
Yep.
I can buy them down. Lenders can give a better yield spread. Like there's so many things that we can do about that. The inventory is not what it was like 6 months ago, so I actually kind of foresee a lot of FHA 203K streamline stuff. I feel like there's some Fannie Mae Home Path stuff coming around, and I really feel like buyers will get what they want if they slow down, take a look at the mortgage products that will afford them some improvements, because a lot of the inventory is like definitely in need of some help.
Yep. And,
I know my clients have walked in and been like, what do we do? And I'm like, well, there's these kind of loans that we can work on, and as long as we can negotiate a fair deal and get those things done for you, they're usually pretty good to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm doing with my clients to heal that space, to heal a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. But I just don't want to hear it about rates anymore. I mean, they are what they are, and there's things that you can do about them. We don't just turn around and run.
Well, I completely agree. I think there's going to be a lot of those mortgage programs kind of coming back.
For sure.
Just being that now buyers actually have the opportunity. They're not getting beat out by the California buyer or all the investors that are coming in here and just trying to swoop up everything because...
Yeah. The other piece of the narrative that I'm really struggling with is I'm struggling with the whole, like, this is a bad market. It's not a bad market. And I guess maybe I'm, dating myself by going back like almost 20 years when I first got in. Like, when I first got in, I remember the static inventory was like 13,000 actives. That's 20 years ago. Now we have like 20,000 actives, but look at how much this valley has grown. Like, literally, like, cities have been installed in the last 2 decades, right? And we only have another 7,000 pieces of inventory to choose from. I don't think that's a whole lot of inventory right now. Maybe the home buyer that's actually just come into the market as a home buyer is seeing that, and they're only looking at it from there. But I'm looking at it from way back. Maybe that's a handicap on my end.
No, I think that's completely right. I mean, you drive over to California now, you're like, oh wow, where does that subdivision come from? Oh, what is that subdivision?
It's density, you know. And so, like, I'm gonna go back 6 months again, and I'm gonna think to myself, it's like, okay, well, for a seller buyer to be competitive, right? They had to bring cash to the table. They had to have some kind of edge to compete in this multiple offer climate that we had.
Yep.
So they start going back and they start looking at iBuyers, hedge funds, guaranteed offers, things of that nature, right? So now you slow down the buyer activity. What are the sellers doing? They're going back to those same wells, right? And going, hey, what are you going to give me for my house?
Yep.
They see the Zillow estimate, they hear the wholesale price, and they're like, this is a shitty market. No, bro. Give some people a chance with skill, talent, and the ability to network with the real estate community, and you'll end up with top dollar for your property still.
Yep.
Still, every time.
Yeah, especially if it's like a fully updated house right now. It's got all the bells and whistles and stuff. Those things are flying off the shelf still. It's the dilapidated houses that are kind of sitting on the market because they're asking for the same price per square foot or whatever as the fully fixed up house.
Yeah, so I mean, lucky for me, I have a pretty good influence and I have good rapport and trust with my clients. And so what ended up happening is I have a property that needs a little bit of help, and we priced it correctly, and we're sitting in a multiple offer situation right now. Go figure.
Yep.
So if I can do that stuff, what's really going on in the market? Because if it happens for me, I'm just a common dude, like, if it's happening for me, it should be able to happen for everybody else, right? We can carry that on.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And we're seeing that when we get contracts in. There's still multiple offers. There's still multiple counters going back. And, well, there's actually, I guess not still, but now we're seeing a lot of multiple counters coming in and stuff, which is nice to see. Actually, buyers are getting, inspections actually are getting things done. They're actually having an appraisal and doing things that are actually advantageous to the buyer as opposed to just having to waive everything.
You know what I did, Braydon, last week? I actually showed up to a handful of my showings because who came into the showings representing that buyer, I wanted to make sure that we were all very well understood at the product and why the product was priced that way and whatnot. So I was there to answer some questions.
Yep.
I was also there to fend off a few things like, oh, this thing is overpriced. Well, most agents don't run comps before they go out and take a look at a property, right?
Yep.
So I was there and I was knowing, and I was able to educate the agent on the side professionally.
That's huge.
And I ended up with multiple offers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like kind of we're having to take extra steps now to get the job done. But it's not really extra steps, man. It's stuff we used to do back in the day when we had a normal balanced market.
Right.
So here we are. You want to ask me about real estate? Normal balanced market, bro.
That's
100%.
That's what I've been preaching. It's not like it's a declining market by any means. People are moving here in drones. There's familial status is always changing. There's always people that have to move for change of jobs, change of circumstance, change of whatever.
You bet. When they came around and they were qualifying businesses in COVID, what business didn't get qualified to shut down?
Right.
Real estate, because people have a need to have housing and shelter. And that's really a basic need that everybody deserves. Yeah. So
I agree.
Cool stuff.
Yeah. Talk about how moving to North & Co. has impacted your business.
I would say that my business is almost kind of the same. It's always been pretty continuous. I mean, I've got a pretty good book of business. But what North & Co. has done is really kind of changed me in how I approach my business. And so if that's had an indirect effect on it, then I'll say that, that's how it's changed my business. It's really just kind of operated more on me. It's been more of my mindset. It's been more of my, like, hold on, man. What company do you go to work for and they offer you a mental coach as part of your subscription to being with the brokerage?
Yep.
I mean, that's cutting edge right there, dude. Like that's basically saying whatever problems you have or whatever barriers and blocks, here's a source to take care of that so that you can continue on your path. You know, for a brokerage to do something like that, I think that's kind of what impressed me the most.
Yep.
And I think that's probably had the most profound effect on me.
What's your favorite market in Arizona in terms of like geographic location?
I don't know, because I kind of came into this business like new builds. I cut my teeth on a lot of new builds. So like I said, I saw everything kind of crop up like a garden.
Yep.
So a Richmond American in Santan Valley at 1,746 square feet is a Falcon plan. It might be the same Falcon plan over in Levine. So really it's more a buyer deal for me. You know, I just like working with buyers. I like working with sellers. It don't matter. Yep. It's easy. I don't pick an area because, you know, we figure it out.
Yeah. When you're over in, you live in Mesa, correct?
Yeah, I do.
Yep. So talk about a little bit Mesa's market right now.
Mesa's market's just balances like all the rest of them, man. I mean, there's some good properties on the market. There's some bad properties on the market. There's properties that need help on the market. Like there's something for everybody on the market. It's just a matter of getting everybody to come out and start exploring and experiencing the market so that we have one again. Yeah. You know.
What is your experience? Obviously, you said you worked with a lot of new builds.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of your experience been with that?
We used to actually go out and take pictures of spec homes for Homes and Land magazine when I was a buyer's agent. Okay. And that was one of our deals, is that we had to go and find the homes that we wanted to advertise in Homes and Land. So we go take pictures, caption, and get them out there, and we have like a little code, and that publication would go out and our phone would ring, and, you know, it was cool. Like I just, you know, I kind of just get into the buyer, you know what I mean? I don't really like going to do a new build. I just get into the buyer, man. I just want to make sure that they get what they want. Yep. I want to make sure that it's here. Let me back up a second, Braydon. So I like being an agent, and an agent is somebody that works for somebody in their fact. And so when you have somebody that comes to you and goes, "Hey, we just got a promotion at work. We can now afford a home. We were living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and now we can afford a 3-bedroom home." And like the day you close on that, the kid goes and finds his bedroom, and like you hear him screaming that this one's mine. Like, dude, I'm all about that right there. So that to me can happen in Levine. That to me can happen in Prescott. That to me can happen in Florence. It don't matter. It can happen at a Richmond American. It could happen at a resale. So it's the people for me, man.
I love that. Yeah, it's truly enjoying
so
the process
much the
and
people.
Getting them into a home. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, when they give you a purpose for doing what you do, you seem to work a little bit harder, and you just kind of dedicate yourself a little bit more to it's them, man. It has nothing to do with me. It's just them, you know.
When we were on the boat, we talked kind of a lot about mindset and stuff. Mm-hmm. What's kind of your driving factor? What's your big why?
My big why?
Yeah.
Growth.
Yeah.
Growth, life, experience, family, all of that stuff. Like your basic stuff, man. I don't differ from most people, you know. I don't want to like, I got the same cliche answer, you know. Right. I don't got nothing crafty for you there,
Wake
buddy.
Up at 4 a.m., do my workout, meditate.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff happens, dude, but like I can't say it happens every day. Like, I mean, I do my best like everybody else. I try to just keep it in balance, man. That's the way it is.
Love it. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast is it's been apparent you've been kind of stepping it up on video lately.
A little bit.
How's that been helping?
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary, man. I'm getting chased around by random bots, and you know, like people are asking me to be you know, a crypto and DeFi mining and all these other things and languages that I don't speak. But by and large, you know, it's been a great thing for me to like kind of communicate with my past clients a lot.
Yep.
That to me is actually really starting to turn into the new database, if you will.
Yep.
And my ability to communicate with them like that has been okay. And mostly what I've been doing is kind of going, like you said, like, you know, when we met on the boat, I was just getting ready and I was preparing to go and do something. I was getting ready to take a little trip, and like that trip, it has had a lasting effect on me. And so I don't know, that's just kind of, it's a strange deal, man. I get a little bit like emotional when I start thinking about it, you know, but mindset wise for me, it's heart forward. That's just open heart. Just do what's on your heart. Yep. It's easy. It's on my license plate. You know,
what's on your license plate?
Heart forward.
Heart forward.
It's on my license plate, and it's on my heart.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I lead.
Yeah.
So,
talk a little about your family. I know whenever we were on the boat, you were very passionate about
your
wife and your
kids.
kids.
Man. I got a rad wife, and I got a couple bitchin' kids, and you know, like they make me happy. They just do. You know, I don't know what else to say about that. Like just living with your family. Like I got all girls in my family.
Yep.
You know, so I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah.
It's super strange, man. You know, I could start telling you about girl stuff in the house and whatnot, but we don't want to hear about that.
What are some of your passions?
Oh man, I have a lot actually. Let's see. I've been a sand duner since I was about 6 years old. I love going snowboarding. Let's see. I obviously love wake surfing and being out on the boat. But like for the most part, like it's a lot nature, man. It's a lot just being outdoors and having experiences with people that you love. Yep. Simple. Friends that are family, you know, and family that's family.
What is the name of the new team?
It's always been the Jason Hall team. It's not super new. It's just been pared down. It was just Julie and I for the last couple years, and so we're gonna start adding some folks, and you know we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah. Are you started to talk to anybody yet?
You know, I threw an ad up on Indeed, and you know I kind of had a couple conversations with a couple agents, and you know I'm just going real slow about it. You know, you asked me about mindset and some of the things. Like one of the biggest differences that I've made in myself is my leadership capabilities. I think I was saw leadership as like I was the general and everybody needed to march along with me beforehand. Big mess up, bro. Now I see leadership as somebody that's willing to give me a little bit of their trust so I can lock arms and prove to them that I can get them where they're going.
Love that. What shifted that?
The jungle.
Yeah.
The jungle.
Yeah, funny. Mm-hmm. So where do you see the rest of the market going for the rest of the year? You think we're going to kind of get more inventory? You think we're going to kind of stay where we're at? Is it going to be...
Man, Braydon, I think my crystal ball...
What's your predictions? Yeah.
My crystal ball is just as foggy as yours, dude. You know, I've never been the big predictor.
Yep.
I've never been a shifter. I've always just stuck with the fundamentals, and they work. I've never gone I'm kind of funny. Like I'll go to some things, but I don't go to a lot of things because I think my ADD kicks in and I see shiny new toy, and I get off on. You know, I've proven to myself that that's not the way to go.
Yep.
Getting back down to the fundamentals seems to be where everybody always ends up, no matter what the market is.
Yep.
If your phone starts ringing like crazy, as soon as it stops, you're ringing somebody's phone like crazy. If you're going out and showing houses and all of a sudden you're not, well, then you're going out and you're doing open houses. And it's kind of like this, you know, this opposing thing that keeps happening. And
Yep.
that's where I'm going to find my success. That's where my team members or my future team members are going to find their success. My future team members will always find success in any market as long as they can perfect and become the fundamentals.
Yeah.
You know, I think you have to become them, you know.
Yeah, it's funny how much this last couple of years have been different from the past, where you didn't really have to be sitting open houses and doing all that stuff, and now that stuff's definitely coming back. And
yeah, it sure is. And you know, the thing is I remember when the first kind of big, huge escalator of a market hit us. I did okay, but I did a lot better on the other side of it, trying to make sure that people were taken care of. So like I said, the people are really about it. It's not a market prediction. I'm just like, what do the people need? Let me be there.
Yeah. So you've been through the market crash in 2008.
Oh yeah.
So everyone thinks that this is that again.
It's not, man.
It's not. And why?
Because I feel like every seller that was a buyer this past 2 years, they're closing with better than 150 grand in equity. That's a big difference, man. They were closing with, you know, a hot breath and a promise
right
in 2008. And so I just feel like 150 G's, like as the market is receding, if you will,
yep.
You know, that money is still there unless you sell.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are willing to lose that kind of leverage over their property, nor do they have a real reason. Nor are we having any kind of employment crisis. The only employment crisis we're having right now is people don't really want to go. They don't want to do it.
That is very true. That's for sure. Yeah, just showing up.
It's a big deal, man.
We were talking about that this morning with the ladies in here. It's just amazing how many people just kind of don't show up right now, and it's just like I always say, availability is one of the best abilities. I picked that up from a buddy, Chris Yatsko. Plug there for Chris.
Say that again.
Availability is one of the best abilities.
Availability is one of the best abilities. And so that goes along with the old adage of 80% of the job is just showing up, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. You know, the other 20% is talent and skill.
Right.
You know, and you have to show up 80% to figure out that other 20.
Yep.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, just doing the open houses or,
Mhm.
you know, doing the showings, like you said, or being at the showings when you didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And actually helping them with the appraisal process before even getting it under contract, and doing that after you've gone under contract, and helping the appraiser appraise the property. You're helping the agents when they're coming into the property.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's just
that's huge. I mean, that's something you obviously didn't need to do, but that obviously helped your seller
for sure.
and help you get the value.
Yeah, and I think, you know, right now, I think a lot of agents, we have to actually lock arms and start helping each other. You know, we kind of got to be a community again instead of, you know, being adverse to each other.
Yep.
I saw a lot of that, and it kind of broke my heart. You know, it's a little bit of, you know, I guess when you've been in the business a couple decades, you become a little ambassadorial about it. And it really just broke my heart the way some of the agents would. And I have to admit that anytime we do a transaction, I'm going to guarantee you that my assistant is looking up your license to find out how long you've been in the business.
Yep.
So, Julie, like, keep it up. And I'll tell you, by and large, most of the ones that had some nasty attitudes about the whole thing, they were probably less than 2-3 years in the business, you know? Like, they hadn't been through a market cycle to humble them in that point. And they're just like, hey, I got a listing and, you know, you're going to do it this way. You know, I think I had one agent tell me that I only got a day inspection.
Right.
Because the seller wouldn't let me in during my 10. I'm like, come on, have some. Where's our community
Right.
at this point?
Yeah, when they were just flying off the shelves, there's no camaraderie. There was no like, let's work together. And
That's
get this done.
correct.
It was like, well, give me the best and final.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah, and it just became so insensitive that I think we lost our sense of community as real estate agents, and I want that back, man. I want it back because, you know, I can tell you, like, I had a phone call with an agent the other day, and we collabed perfectly. Just so happened that he ends up going and showing my listing, and we collabed perfectly. And so that to me is like, we're getting back to it. And I like this business again like that.
Yeah.
So my favorite market is this one.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, I think every realtor that I've talked to enjoys this market better. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's just 6 months ago, you were fighting to get a deal done.
Oh, yeah.
Your buyers were getting discouraged. They'd go back into renting because they made so many offers that they were pissed off that they couldn't get one under contract.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there's a little bit higher of an interest rate now is the big factor, of course, but you actually have an opportunity to negotiate when you're going in and buying a property, as opposed to just going, okay, yeah, how much over do I have to go on the sales price?
Yeah, and it's almost like you can kind of balance a little bit between principal reduction, a little bit of rate reduction. You know, the lender, you know, might step up and go, hey, I can offer you this yield spread if you just pay this. You know, like, there's so many different things that can be done to make it work, that, you know, a combination and a balance of that is really what's going to get the buyers to, it's what's going to get them their house, you know. It's what's going to get them to actually write a contract, because, like I said, I have actually attended showings and on my listings and watched, and there's a registered level of fear in the market right now with regards to that, and it's really just a buzzword that's doing it.
I agree. Yeah, and
so dumb.
As long as you're willing to ask for concessions and different things, sellers are willing to do that right now, from what we've seen. And I was talking with a lender this morning, and he said right now they're getting anywhere between 2 and 6% of sellers coming in and giving those towards concessions and helping them with the buy downs and things like that you're talking about, which could be huge if rates go back down and then people are able to refinance and get out of that.
I don't even think buyer or sellers knew that on some finance programs, like, you can get up to 6% in concessions. Like, that's a healthy bit of money. Dude, you know, you could go and pay your taxes for the year.
Right.
You could go and, you know, you could go pay your HOA down for the next 5 years just to make your payment a little bit cheaper.
Right.
You know, like, that's something that is pretty cool. You know, especially when HOAs are like $60 a month, you know, like $60 a month, you have to actually knock 10 grand down to get to that $60 a month reduction.
Right.
Okay. So, you know, let's do a little bit here, a little bit there. And next thing you know, you just knocked 150 off of your payment, you know, by just, I guess, playing the credit shell game.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
So I'm just looking forward to more clients and more buyers, more sellers, you know, more agents that we can just indulge in this market, because it really is cool.
Yeah. What else is on the horizon for you?
Buying a house myself.
Cool.
Yeah.
In this market, huh? You would buy a house yourself? Crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I am. I'm actually gonna step up and buy, buy the big one and probably rent out the little one,
Yep.
and keep another few rented and doing all those other things. So
Well, and we talked about that this morning with that same lender. Is obviously if rates keep going up, then that's going to drive rental rates to go up even more, because if that same house now is probably cheaper to rent than it is to buy in some cases.
And it's funny, like I said this the other day to a client. What do you want to do? You want to lose money to your landlord, or you want to lose money to yourself? Which one?
Yep.
So who cares about the rate, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're renting, it's 100%, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
I heard another something that was kind of funny, and I threw up a video about this the other day, and it's, like this is a little bit far-fetched, but if I rewind you to like right past COVID, that's when this whole land grab starts, right? That's when everybody starts grabbing everything, and it's like, there's no houses on the market, inventory starts waning and blah, blah, blah. And you're going, what's going on, man? We're in the middle of this crisis in the country, and people are going crazy and still buying. So what's happening? Who knows something? And I had this silly thought that, what if the dynamics change where the individual, like private citizen, can't own a piece of real estate? So I'm on a phone call this week from a pretty good sized real estate influencer, and the guy makes a comment that says real estate's predominantly going to be institutionally owned in the next 20 years.
Yep.
So my deal is like, I'm 48 years old. I've got a 19-year-old kid. So in 20 years, she's of home buying age. She doesn't get to participate in the American dream. Bullshit.
Right.
Yep.
Is that one of the factors why you want to hold out your other property and rent it?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. But like that just kind of brought something about, and it's like, if that's the case, and we're talking about rates, and we're talking about this market bad, this market's good, blah 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 blah, and then you have a prediction that's set up that says that it's going to be institutionally owned in the next 20 years. Do we care?
Right. None of that matters.
Do we care? Like
Right.
That's like the ultimate takeaway close right there.
I completely agree, and I feel like they're almost pushing that narrative with interest rates.
I feel the same way too. And,
Yep.
and so like you speak about that, and then you think, what do we do about it? Do we sit back and not while we still can?
Yep. Right. Yeah, I think it's time to jump in. I don't know.
I think it's really just, it becomes the decisions and the choices become the psychology of the consumer at that point. And I would just like to change that psychology, because I don't want to see anybody forfeit the American dream.
I'm in the same boat. I'm now like, okay, I'm never selling a piece of real estate ever again.
Yeah.
Because one, the low interest rate that we've got locked in on
Sure.
our properties or whatever, and two, the fact that I don't know if we'll be able to buy again at this price or at around this area or whatever, because the institutional people are coming in.
Dude, predominantly for most of my life, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, bro. Like my bedroom was the futon bed. It was a futon bed in the breakfast nook. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so like tell you the story about hearing the kids choose their room, like how that like resonates with me. And then you go and you tell me that there might be this possibility, or there's this imagination out there that a private citizen can't own real estate. And I've been taught all my life that that's the American dream, like,
Yep.
And as much as you own, and that's actually a huge contributor of generational wealth. So you're telling me that we can't have generational wealth anymore?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest factor in the economy, right? Is real estate and
way
generational
scary,
wealth.
dude.
Yeah.
Way scary. And then you go and you think about this too, is like you take a look at real estate, like every time a home is purchased, almost 33% of basically real estate is responsible for 33% of every dollar spent after the purchase. Think about it. They go to Home Depot.
Right.
They get crazy, do this, they do
Furniture,
that. Furniture, appliances, like decorations. And most people are like, hey, give me new cars, because they don't match the neighborhood now, right? So, I mean, it's even down to car sales. So if you think about how much our industry fosters the economy,
Yep.
and to think in 20 years, we're not going to have control of that as citizens, bro.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even the builders are starting to now think about that, as opposed to they're like, okay, if all these institutional buyers are just coming in here and renting these properties out, I've got a big builder that I work with now that's all they're doing is they're building a huge subdivision that's just going to be a rental subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never done that in the past, but they're like, okay, that's probably pretty smart to be holding on to these if these things keep going up in value, and if interest rates keep going up, we'll lock this in and boom.
That's called what do they call that? Not a monopoly, but a monopsony.
A monopsony.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that before.
I think that's what it is. It's like where they actually make it and control it at the same time, or create it and control it at the same time.
Yep.
So that said, like there's an institution or an entity that has that over real estate. What do they get to do to us from there?
Right.
You know, so that's why it's probably pretty important for people to have their little postage stamp of what God's not making anymore, which is dirt.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So
buy dirt and hold it, right?
buy dirt and hold it, man.
Yeah, love that.
Silly.
Jason, for anybody that wants to get a hold of you, how can they reach you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jason Hall AZ. You can actually just hit me on my cell at 480-703-4117 or holler at North & Co.
Love it.
That's
Jason,
cool.
thanks for coming on today, bud.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate you, Braydon.
Love it. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Break It Down with Braydon. Stick around, more to come. Thanks, guys.